Okay, I know this isn't my usual vlog, but I have been seeing things and hearing things that I am deeply disturbed by. I wanted to bring to attention that how broken our justice system is. First, I mean, if somebody breaks into your home, you have the right to protect your home and your family by any means necessary. Not too long ago, there was a man who broke into an elderly woman's home, cut his leg on some glass. Not only did he not go to jail or prison, but they allowed him to sue her, and he won. So this man that broke into this woman's house is now living off of this woman's money comfortably. I see where that's wrong. Another incident was around Christmas time. A burglar broke into another elderly woman's home, come down her chimney. Actually, kind of ignorant, but what can you expect? Got hurt during the process. Not only did he not go to jail or prison or have any consequences whatsoever, but he also was allowed to sue this elderly woman for damages done to him that he caused on his own. And he won. Now he's living comfortably off of her money when he broke into her home. I see where that's wrong. It's injustice. It's not right. The system is completely broken. I had an incident. My driveway is completely destroyed. My house burnt down 2016. Luckily, I've got enough land. I was able to move across the street into a modular home. My driveway is still in the process of being repaired. So early in the morning, I went to speak to the bus driver because my daughter had been having problems on the bus with bullies. The bus driver had suspended my daughter twice in less than a month around Christmas. I went to the school. I went to the superintendent. I spoke to everybody I could possibly speak to about getting a conference to find out what was going on with my daughter. Nobody would speak to me. Everybody just kept dismissing it. My daughter had talked about suicide. She's just made 11 years old this year. Due to the bullying and everything, you know, she was talking about suicide and how she wished she was never born. And I mean, her life was miserable. So to try and fix this, you know, I wanted to go through the school system, follow the steps, and get it resolved. Of course, my daughter was going through a hard time because my husband was deployed. So it was really emotional for all of us during that time. The only thing I could think of was to get in touch with the bus driver myself. Well, due to my driveway being pretty much a wreck, I had pulled my vehicle up to get out of a mud hole because I was in house shoes. Early in the morning, what can you expect? You're not going to dress up to go see anybody. Anyways, I was on my own property. Never laid a hand on the bus, never cussed, never raised my voice, never made a threat. They had pressed charges on me. The bus driver lied. Luckily, I had recorded what was going on. The cameras on the bus had recorded what was going on. So I wasn't charged with anything other than my vehicle being partially in the road, because I wanted to get out of a mud hole. Even though I caused no harm to anybody, I still got charged with obstruction of public transportation. I went to jail. My mother, it was a good thing I knew the officers, because they gave me enough time for my mother to get to where I lived. Again, my husband was deployed during this time. My mother had cancer, which was not good for her to get out of the home, and especially, that early in the morning, and drive all the way to where I am, which I'm about an hour away from my mother, to get my daughters to go to the jail, where there's an extreme amount of germs, which could have caused her to get sick, due to her low immune system from the cancer and the cancer treatments. But still, she come up there. Luckily, I wasn't in there but maybe an hour. Later, I went in front of the judge, and I was fined for, they had dropped everything except for obstruction of traffic of a public road. Crazy. To me, I did nothing wrong. I simply wanted a conference. I was asking the bus driver when would be a best day and what would be a best time for her to have a conference with me. This bus driver would not speak to me. She closed the doors, closed the window, called the cops, told them I was threatening her, I was beating on the bus, so on and so on. Come to find out, when they pulled the recordings, they realized it was all untrue. But I was still fined for my vehicle being partially in the road, which was my bumper. And that was it. I was also made aware that if I did not pay my fine on time, that I would go to jail and serve until my fine was completely paid. Really? I mean, is that really a good enough reason to send somebody to jail? I don't really think so. I see where that was unfair and injustice. I know, of people, self-defense. The judge does not want to hear their side of the story. So they get anywhere from 5 years to sometimes life in prison without parole. It's unfair. It's injustice. These people deserve a fair trial. They was defending their home, defending their self. I mean, we have a right for self-defense. Am I not correct? You don't know if somebody comes on your property and they're coming after you, or if they're breaking into your home. You don't know if these people have a weapon or not. You have no idea. Especially if it's nighttime. If you accidentally shoot and kill this person, guess what? You go to prison. Why? For protecting your home and for protecting your family? Protecting yourself? It's unfair. Then you go to prison, horrible things happen to you because a lot of the correctional officers are crooked. Extremely crooked. I know this for a fact. I've seen it. I've heard it. I know things that go on in prison that should not go on in prison. The correctional officers turn their backs. They don't care. Some of these people do not deserve to be in prison. They deserve an actual fair trial. But due to the system being broken, they do not care. I'm not taking up for all of the prisoners because some of them have actually done very bad. But then again, there's some in there that don't deserve to be. There was a man, somebody had broken into his home. He killed him. That man is serving life in prison without parole. Do you see where that's fair? His children and his wife was in the home. He was protecting them. It was in the middle of the night. And now this man his life is messed up forever. If he gets out of prison, he has this on his record. He will never be able to get a good enough job to support his family. He will never have the same rights as everybody else. And not only does he have to suffer, but his family has to suffer as well. These attorneys that they appoint you in court, if you don't have your own attorney, they really could care less about your well-being. They really could care less about your story or why you did what you did. Things need to change. The system needs to change. Your story should be heard. The whole story, the whole truth should be heard. Everything should be taken into consideration as to why you done what you did. Not only that, but somebody breaking into your home and robbing you, if they get hurt, they should not be allowed the privilege to sue you. They broke into your home. It's wrong for them to get away with the things that they get away with. It is wrong for things to go on in prison to people for, that are in there for simple things. Like me, for example, the incident with the school bus, it wasn't really, I never even stepped foot off my property, never even touched the bus. But if I don't pay my fine, I could go to jail, then turn around and end up in prison. People like that, really? They deserve to go to prison and have something horrible on their record that can mess their life up forever? Not only theirs, but their families as well. The COs in the prison, they don't care. These men and these women, they're getting raped. They're getting beat. And in prison, you either have to be somebody's whore, excuse my language, or join a gang just to survive. The COs turn their back because they do not care. They're there just to make a paycheck. Not only that, but the COs, majority of them are the ones bringing in contraband. I know this for a fact. There's several of them that's been caught. There's several of the COs that are sleeping with inmates. They don't get in the trouble that they need to get in trouble. I mean, they don't get in the trouble that they need to be in. I've known several of the COs to actually be gang affiliated and had good COs beat, shanked, murdered for doing their job the right way. Is that right? I see where it's not. The wardens, some of the wardens even, are allowing this to go on so they can make a profit off of the contraband being sold in these prisons. Is that right? I see where it's not. Things need to be fixed. Not only in the prison systems, the jail systems, but also the court systems. The whole justice system is corrupt. Judges, lawyers, officers, COs, wardens, all of it is corrupt. People's story is not getting heard. It's just, oh, well, let's just throw you in prison. Let's just throw you in jail. Let's just mess up your life for doing something that was actually the right thing. I felt I had a right to speak to the bus driver about my daughter and what was going on with her. Then again, well, I got in trouble for it. I personally don't see why I got in trouble for it. I did nothing wrong. No threats, no weapons. I never laid a hand on the bus, never tried to get on the bus. Later on, I found out that day, the bus driver allowed a man to enter onto the bus and talk to her while children was present on the bus. He stayed on the bus and spoke to her for a good 20 minutes or so. What was the difference between me trying to speak to her and him trying to speak to her? At least I wasn't trying to enter onto the bus. I was standing on my property outside the bus. So, how is that right? For me to stand outside the bus trying to talk and set up a conference versus her allowing a man onto the bus that wasn't even any of the children's father. He was an uncle who had no custody of the children. So, what's safer? Speaking to a mother who has concerns and trying to set up a conference, or speaking to a man that isn't a father or a mother or whatever for 20 minutes or so while he's standing inside the bus? I get in trouble. I go to jail. I get fined. I get a record. But this man here that was standing on the bus, nothing. Perfectly fine. How fair is that? Let me know. Please like, comment below, subscribe. Thank you.